You are now entering Sparda's world with the host with the most, Sparda 3G. How's that? Screw you, I'm keeping it.
To begin, what a time has changed in the world of manga. I mean, the anime seems fine. Crunchyroll is taking care of that, and even Kiss Anime is taking care of that. Manga-wise, there's been going a lot of changes lately, all because of the arrests that taken place weeks ago. So now it's apparently there's another arrest happening with Nananuso Taizai. Yeah. So it seems like a new era is trying to begin. But after One Piece being released by the one that got caught in terms of the source they're delivering to, it begs the question, did you just got a new guys? Or rather, maybe it's just a one-time thing and they only playing safe. And granted, I do applaud them to play safe rather than try to keep going like a normal schedule. It's just the scheduling is going to be a little bit funky for a while. But you know, I don't mind that. I can wait, certain series at least. But other than that, I can wait for it. And at least it could spread out because every time the new chapters release on the same day, I have to find the way to get the same make some time in order to write down my thoughts, because it's just a lot of series I do read. And you know, even though there are more series I read behind the hype list I've been listing in Tumblr, it's still, you know, a lot of work to do for the thoughts. I know I have a choice and not to write them, but I do appreciate a lot of feedback coming from Tokyo Ghoul read chapter 53. But, you know, I don't want to stop these. I kind of enjoy reading my thoughts. Though I did find out that not a lot of people read on the One Piece one. Probably because this one wasn't as good. Or rather, it wasn't as very interesting. It depends how you see it. We get to that talk later on. So, lots of things going on with the changes, but I think for the most part, I think it's going to go back to normal scheduling in certain time. Just got to give it time, because right now, a lot of things has been going on. So, now that we got that out of the way, this is Sparda's World Podcast, episode 45. That's right, 45. And this is Sparda 3G coming back from all this turmoil with the whole manga thing, but you know, everything's gonna be normal. A lot of delays, a lot of rescheduling plan. It doesn't matter as long as I get these chapters one way or another. You know, still a lot of series has been coming late, and you know, again, so a lot of people are playing safe at this time, and they may go back to the normal scheduling, or they just have to reschedule themselves all in all. But that's okay. That's fine with me. I don't want nobody to get caught. I know it sounds like I'm supporting the criminals, the crime, whatever. The way how Viz Media posted on their comment section, they did comment about this whole arrest situation going through. And I understand that's the case. I understand that does seem like I'm the bad guy, but, you know, I guess, you know, these ain't the crime that's really, you know, unforgivable. These are the crime that's like, well, you shouldn't have done it, but, you know, next time you should learn about this more thoroughly. You know, it's these kind of crime. I don't support crime. I know legal stuff is a crime, whatever, how they, you know, force upon from the law. But all I'm saying is, you know, just be careful if you really want to continue this. If you don't want to get caught, don't want to do this, don't continue it. Just stop it. Just let it go by. I just wish all the official, the official translation, the official sources of getting your manga needs, I wish all of them has been, translating in the entire series that the magazine offer, even if it's the one that's unpopular by, everybody in the West side. I just wish it was like the days where Japan is living today, as in getting monthly, weekly magazines, issues. I mean, we got those here with the whole Shonen Jump Alpha, but it's all digital. Nothing wrong with digital. I mean, I understand. I get it. We're in a digital age. I get it. But sometimes I just wish we were going back to the old days with the magazine. And I know a lot of people don't want to be like, oh, I don't want to collect those magazines and all that. I don't want to stack them up. You can recycle them, But they are authentic, and they are pretty amusing to have, to obtain one of those magazines in your hand, with you got the direct feed imagery rather than in the digital. Granted, the digital can have the image on a like a really great quality too, but it's always nice to have like in your face, in your own eyes, not from the eyes to the mobile device or whatever device you have, from technology wise. So I miss those kind of age. I did grow up during the days of magazine. I remember weekly Shonen Jump was actually in America, but they made it into a monthly Shonen Jump, and it's like it had more issues, but they don't really translate the entire series that the magazine originally offered. So it's like it's only like Naruto, Bleach, insert any manga that's actually popular in here, there. And it's like 3 to 4 chapters and stuff like that. But, this time has changed. At least you got weekly. At least you find some source, a translation. That's good. Hopefully, they'll start to translate a lot of more series. And hopefully, more popular demands will bring back the series they actually canceled out due to the, many reasons. Some of them are actually unpopular demand, which is understandable, but you should try to stop it when the publication is actually stopped itself, as in like series that get canceled themselves. So it's just the way it is. I live by it, and what can you do? All right, so let's get to the news of this week. Well, we have the big news, at least to a lot of people. Even though the rest thing is an ongoing issue, and there are other things that's coming along as I record this, but one of the very beginning of the news that this week brought up is the fact that Fairy Tail Zero, that's the prequel manga no less, it's a prequel to the Fairy Tail itself. I mean, self-explanatory, is not getting a OVA. It's not getting that. It's not getting a movie. But it's actually getting a TV anime adaptation. And it's releasing on January 2016. Now, the reason why I set the whole setup is because it gave me an impression it was going to be OVA, like 3 tops or maybe even 4 tops. And instead, we're getting a TV anime adaptation, meaning it's going to be like a 12 episode length core. It's actually interesting. They're going to make it into a series, so it's like every week you're going to get Fairy Tail and then Fairy Tail Zero. It's like double the doses of Fairy Tail needs. Now, granted, it doesn't need to be 12 episodes or even 13. It could be even less than that. It could even be 6 episodes. I don't know. It depends what kind of content they're going to insert there. It's possible Mashima will probably insert the ideas there, or it's just one of those things that the studios like to insert much more exposition and more fan service or more characteristic of these characters. I mean, I read the manga. I never really got to review, but I thought the manga itself is actually a really good read. It's pretty good, especially it's I wouldn't say it's too crucial to necessarily read it in order to understand the world of Fairy Tail in terms of the main plot, but it does help the lore of Fairy Tail, and it's always nice to see like more of Mavis and the other characters. Definitely more of Mavis. You won't get too much on Seraph. You get that in the main plot, but still, this is still a good read. It still had a lot of good backstory. It's actually a nicely told story. That again is one of those moments of where's Mashima when he does this for the main plot rather than just for the side story, stuff like that. Something you guys know about from Rave Master Rave. That's the original title. But I understand that a lot of people, praise this one, and sometimes they actually say to themselves, "This is better than the fairy tales itself." Again, this is one focused story. Fairy Tale, the main series, it's has a lot of focus. I mean, granted, the main target is against Zerov and all that stuff, but yeah, they're going to need to have a lot of different focus, kind of like what One Piece has always been going through. So when it comes to like one sole focus, especially where this one is actually about Fairy Tale, the origin of Fairy Tale, is something that people will be more interested rather than something that's like a random side story, a random story that just barely connects to the main story. Kind of like One Piece been doing. Fairy Tale at this time hasn't been doing that because now it's really connected to Zerov as he is the main target. But point being that Fairy Tale Zero is definitely an interesting read, and I do recommend, especially for Fairy Tale fans. And the manga itself has been released in Japan, and America is going to get theirs in around summer of 2016. I'm interested to see the anime adaptation. It could be really good. There is one scene I really want to see how that's going to play out in the anime form. So, I don't mind this whole thing. I'm just surprised it's not a OVA, or, well, I wouldn't think it's a movie. They already announced a movie. But I'm just surprised it's a TV anime adaptation. So I'm interested to see how much content they could do with only 13 chapters. If I recall correctly, it's only 13 chapters long. They're long, but they're not like something that you could fit in 13 episodes by itself. You could even make it only to 6 to 7 episodes with it if you just focus on the manga. But if you try to find a way to add more content, there's a possible way you could make it into a 12 episode. Well, and you may think it could drag down the story itself. Maybe if they do, you could do it right by making it more interesting by like showing more characteristic with the characters within the side characters, more of Mavis, more of the bonding and everything like that. You can make it without slowing it down. It's a little tough, but you can do it. And the downs, you could make it a negative if you actually do drag the story down by making it too obvious or making it too in your face exposition and all that stuff, where it's not necessarily needed. Especially this series, the spin-off, the side story as you call it. It's already done itself enough job to give you the explanation on the whole lore of itself. So we'll see how this gonna plays out. I'm looking forward to it though. With the short focus, even though the main series is still ongoing, I think they could put a lot of enough budget to this one, at least in my opinion. Speaking of TV anime adaptation, well, this is not really a TV anime, but I guess they made it into happen. Now, before, I remember thinking like, oh, we're going to have Digimon Adventure Try. Try is going to be movie-based, movie form. There are 4 of them, and they could break it apart, I think, to 4 episodes if we're really going to make them into a TV anime. So I was thinking myself, I guess we gotta wait long. That's the only downside I could see about this whole situation. I mean, we're gonna have a better budget, a better audio, all the high level quality of an anime. So that's a good sign. Just the wait is gonna kill us. Then Crunchyroll just made a big announcement on Friday that instead of waiting, we can bring it to you guys, and we bring it now. On that day, they brought the entire movie, or should I say, broken down into anime episodes of that movie. They made it into 4 parts, and they released it on Friday, and everybody could see it. I think Premium could see it on day 1. I think day 2 they could start seeing it. And then of course, Kiss Anime is gonna make it happen, and they did. And so that means we're going to start getting them on whatever the release base. So if it comes out on January whatever, like 15, we probably get it on the same day, if not a little bit later. But the fact is, we don't need to wait for a DVD Blu-ray release. So that's a good thing. That's nice of Crunchyroll to actually manage to pull this off. And, a lot of people got to see it. I haven't seen it yet, so don't ask for a comment. I'll see it eventually. Definitely see it eventually. I don't know how it is. I don't know if it's good, bad. I don't know if Toei messed it up as once again, but we'll see what happens. Because, again, I haven't seen it. Did I check any opinion? Not yet. I kind of saw it, but, I only saw nostalgia. Of course, that's given. Nostalgia plays a huge factor to this whole Tribe series that's coming out. So it's been a while for me seeing the trailer, but I'm hoping for the best. It's actually good. And if you think Boku no Hero Academia, yes, I know I said the name wrong. I said the name wrong for the past the entire 45 episode. I get it. I said it wrong. My bad. Sorry. I know. I had to start learning Japanese again. I did learn Japanese, but boy, am I getting rusty again. I ain't gonna go back. I'm gonna bring my learning book and all that stuff. I still have the dictionary, so at least I'm gonna improve myself. One day. But anyway, Boku no Hero Academia, if you think the hype train is not real, they managed to bring out an announcement of a 3DS video game. An arcade card game already. I'm telling you, they Shonen Jump really wants to have a next Naruto, next Bleach, next One Piece. Good luck. But point is, they wanted the next big thing, the next big series in their lineup. They got like a lot of sellers in their bag. They got Assassination Classroom, Haikyuu. Used to have Kuroko no Basket, but they still do have the extra game, and they're doing really good. It's doing the same thing as this first series, so there's no difference. Maybe, but either way, it's pretty big. Over 500,000. That's pretty big to me. They have a lot of different series to look after. Shokugeki no Soma is doing pretty good too. Over 300,000, and so on. A lot of series are getting finished off. True. But Boku no Hero Academia, they wanted to make it into a big thing. And they're pushing it harder and harder. And with this, now they have... Oh, there's a trailer. I saw there is a trailer of Boku no Hero Academia. There's the first PV. It's a teaser. It didn't show much. But a few comments I'd like to say. One, the fact that Bones is doing this, and you already could tell it's already Bones production, is already a pleasing look to see. With the whole... it almost feels like it looks like literally a manga bring it to anime life. It literally looks like that. Usually when you see an anime adaptation, the art changes kind of drastically, if not just change. You always see that the coloring, the shadows, and so on. Now I'm going to assume the shadowing and the lightings in the mangas is going to remain to be a unique factor compared to the anime. But what the anime has, it really looks like direct feed. It's direct to from the manga, as it to say, it's a fan animation. With a higher budget. So it's really pleasing to see, and I'm really happy. So far, it looks good. I like Deku, the protagonist. I like his voice. I thought we was gonna have. For some reason, I thought we was going to get Armin from Attack on Titan, but more peachy in terms of the voice tone, more cowardly. I guess that's what I expected from Deku, but something like that will actually turn a lot of fans, especially the fans that just don't want no little pansy, they just want men, those kind of fans, it'll just turn them away. But in this case, this one is actually work. This voice really suits him, and it suits well for a protagonist role. So I'm really looking forward to how the action when it comes to like him being so heavily determined to goes down. I like All Might voice as well. So far everything looking promising. I'm happy for that. That said, I do think this PV being released this early only tells me that this anime is going to be releasing on spring 2016. That's what I think. That's my guess, and I'm not taking back to that one. So since we're talking about this whole Shonen Jump, let's get to the manga side. I do believe they released a new series. I forgot what's the name already, so sorry I forgot to keep the research in my hand. I didn't plan that part. What I want to say is the whole Best Blue. It's a swimming manga. I bet none of you guys heard about it unless you're really too into the Weekly Shonen Jump fan base, the fan club, whatever. It's a series. It's a series that actually happened. It's a swimming manga, and I know the first thing that might come to your mind is, oh, they're so capturing the popularity of free. Yeah, at least that's what I think. I kind of think that. Actually, I do think that majority because a swimming manga had free is making a movie. Connect the dots, guys. So it's actually released around July. And it's already ending, I believe, in the next issue. That was quick. That didn't take long. Obviously, it didn't work. The series did not work. And it, like with that series where where it was a very dark tone, where they weren't trying to capitalize the popularity of Death Note, because that's a long time ago. Even though the Death Note live action did happen, but still, my point being, they more capitalizing on the Attack on Titan being dark, killing, scary, spooky, dark theme, dark. But with this is the same case, but as in getting canceled so soon, because the That Dark series got canceled pretty soon. Not that soon, but soon. Like maybe 2 volumes. I forgot how many. So in this case, it got canceled as well. Again, it's pretty clear they're trying to capitalize on the free popularity. Now, of course, they're going to have their own shonen-ish, with the whole loud character. I haven't read the manga, but I'm assuming they're going to have to try to capitalize, ooh, look at that. It's so charismatic and stuff, and very loudmouth, never give up trope, But I think the main ploy would be, oh, look at that body. That body is so, whatever. Something that Free is known for, even though maybe it might be known for more, but don't ask me. I haven't seen it. So, that being said, this series is it's coming to an end next issue of Shonen Jump, which should be around, I think, like Monday. If not, then let's be talking about the other Monday. Because it depends where this news comes from. Is it coming from, the 52nd issue this Monday then. So, yeah, that's the case. It seems like this person who has been working with Weekly Shonen Jump has not a good record. And I think it's best to move on to a different magazine. Because if it's not working 2 series in a row, you might as well just move on to something else. Move on to, I'm not saying quit manga, but I think you should try to go to a different publication and try to capitalize your work in elsewhere, because Shonen Jump, they are hard when it comes to trying to get the next best thing, the next big thing. So when it doesn't work, you might as well start kind of small, I guess. So it sucks for that person to lose twice in a row with this whole thing. But what can you do? You got to start somewhere else. While this one is not canceled, it's rather a bit upsetting, but if you like the anime gangsta, you probably will go to the manga side. Now, granted, the manga and the anime could be a different part. One anime did not do a good job on this, whatever. But, if a lot of people will go to the manga after knowing what the anime is showcasing, whether it's good or not, but they will probably find out, I like this concept, I like this character, I like this and that. So I'll go to the manga. Now, the upsetting news that I just recently found out is they announced that Kosuke Gangsta, the mangaka herself, is unfortunately on a poor health, and because of that, the series itself is going to hiatus, and they did not say when it's going to come back. So unlike World Trigger, which by the way also got a hiatus for 1 week, this one is indefinitely as of now. We don't know when it's gonna come back. We don't know, the situation with the author. Like, as in, like, will she make a good progress? Is she gonna take a time off for a long time, for a short time? We don't know anything about it. We only know that they don't know anything that's going to happen to the series. That's how much we have to. That's how much they had to make a decision to make an indefinite hold, a hiatus, because again, this seems like a poor health. It's not a wrist issue or anything. It's something. I don't know if they explain what kind of issue she's having, but some say that she has some pretty bad disease. It's something with the whole a chronic form of, I can't really pronounce it. It's a syndrome, but I will try my best. Hypersynophilic syndrome. I don't know if that's really that's the case. They say this actually happened in around 2012. I'm only basing from what I'm seeing, what I'm reading. I'm quoting. I'm not really giving you the actual fact. If it is fact, then take it as it is. But as of now, just take it what you get. But the fact that this stuff like that is happening, it reminds me of the Grayman situation. But in this case, it's different, or maybe it's of course they're all different. But in this case, it's like the whole hiatus happened. If definitely when it will come back, we don't know. So Gangsta is under that kind of fall, and it's pretty upsetting. Even though I didn't read the manga or even watch the anime, but it's still upsetting when there are a fan base, when there are people that really want to see this. But of course, we all have to pray for the author to make a full recovery, and hopefully she will fight back, and she will come back stronger than ever. So not only that's affected, but even like the drama CDs and other merchandises from the anime part are gonna put a postpone to that, because I guess this is really that effective, and I guess it's really wanted to pay respect to this whole situation that's going on with the author. So it is upsetting, and I do pray for full recovery. I don't want her to go back to the series ASAP. I want her to get a recovery, get well, get like 100%, and then go back to do the manga. That's people first than anything else, So that's it for the news. I mean, there's a lot of news, even like Gundam Thunderbolt, which already looks different from the Gundam Iron Orphan in terms of the design, but that's expected because it is originally from the manga. But anyway, there's a lot of news to come, and the whole manga situation with the fan translation has been ongoing, different scheduling plan. Either they're really not going to do the same day as before, or they're really just playing safe for now until things cools down, which is understandable too. But other than that, not much too troubling. It's just something you have to expect once in a while. The only one that seems to be affected by the rescheduling seems to be Boku no Hero Academia. I mean, the other series like Shokugeki no Soma and perhaps Haikyuu. Well, Haikyuu got affected from now, but it's playing safe. But with Boku no Hero Academia, it seems like it's going back to the old schedule, which used to be on Mondays. Back then, like early on, it was actually going on a Friday. So technically, we were supposed to get another chapter, but I guess the whole, getting captured in China, with the whole arrest issues, has been, I guess, intimidated them to, play it more safe, which is understandable. So only have the chapter that was released on Monday last week. Nothing from Friday or nothing that's actually up ahead in terms of leakage. So either way, it is part of the weekly chapter ranking. So here is another weekly chapter ranking on my opinion. So the last two chapters that came out really late And thankfully, they came out just in time. It was Tokyo Ghoul and Gintama. How about that? My two favorite series in their own respective genre. Can that be coincidence? But hey, at least the fact that Manga Stream seems to get used to. So at least they're getting used to it. They came out later. You could say it's like the same timing as Imperial Scan's version, but maybe they're just still trying to grasp the whole way of doing Tokyo Ghoul in their normal basis work hours and stuff. So we'll see how that's going to come along. Whether we get earlier, will we still get it on the Sundays? We'll see how it comes. But anyway, this is the weekly chapter ranking. So number 9, Bleach chapter 652. It's a flashback chapter with Nanoi and Kuroko. It was to me, it was enjoyable. I like the flashback. I know the fight isn't that impressive. I know the fight could be overall okay or even bad. Depends how it works. To me, this chapter alone itself is actually good on its own. And, I know people is already fed up with the fight. I know it's taking too long. I know it's still hard to grasp the idea there's a sword that could kill a god that's just out of nowhere. I know that. Still, I thought, this was a good chapter for the flashback, the characteristic alone. So, I give it his due. Number 8, Nanatsu no Taizai, chapter 150. I like this chapter. I guess they kill off 2 members of 10 Commandments. The first one was more reasonable and understandable and more climactic. Definitely more climactic than the one we just recently got in this chapter. This chapter is just focused on finishing off the job and then everything just talk. And the comedy ensued. It's not bad. I like it. I enjoyed this. It was an enjoyable chapter. The end part kind of seems a little bit odd where the direction is going to go. But we'll see how that's going to work out in the series. So it was a good chapter at least. Number 7, Boku no Hero Academia chapter 67. This is the end of the exam, and I find it to be hilarious and amusing at the same time with the whole Minata. I think that's how you say his name. I probably say his name wrong. So, that little guy that's pretty perverted and he was crying blood. I find that amusing. And the exam ended. You get some of the people that you expected to win, and you get some of them that you may or may not expected to lose. So, it seems like we're going to start off with a new arc already with the villain alliance that's gathering up a new recruits, especially with that girl who's pretty much a psychopath. But it should be interesting to see what the next arc will lead to, which could be more of an arc that's going to be very explosive. It probably be the moment that everybody everybody probably would say, yeah, I'm gonna become a fan of this series right now. Like one of those staple moments, that moment that makes you become a fan. Every Shonen Jump has stuff like that. So, yeah, definitely a good chapter, too. Number 6, Fairy Tail, chapter 462. This was more of a build-up chapter, if anything. This is actually just a pure build-up, but there's a lot of interesting build-up to it. Some of the fights is already determined who's going to fight, like Laxus versus Wall, and other characters in other scenarios. You see like the entire reinforcements where they're being placed in and so on. So a lot of things to look forward to, and something we will discuss more in the chapter reviews. And the definitely the end part of the chapter with the whole Kings of Ishgard going to be involved with this whole thing, and definitely the Nasu heading into the final boss of the series, or at least what we think is the final boss at this time. But other than that, this is definitely a pretty good build-up, and it should leave a lot of interesting outcome for the next chapter or so. Number 5, One Piece chapter 807. As we get to more discussion of this in the chapter review section, I would say this chapter was enjoyable. It was good. It just kind of came off funny in the beginning because it felt like we just retcon or just skipped some chapter or something. But that's the whole joke. That's the idea behind the whole why the beginning feel very off from the last chapter, especially the last chapter. It took us 2 weeks to find out what's going on, and it seems like we're getting trolled back to back with Brooke being the corpse and stuff like that. I mean, we know he's a corpse, but you get the idea where the joke come in from the couple of chapters ago about the way how Wanda said it, and then the end of the chapter, it pretty much gonna have us sitting down, seeing the flashback of what happened to the tribe 17 days ago. So it should be could be interesting how the flashback works down, and could be a good way to try to give us the idea what's the story focus of this arc. Number 4, Shokugeki no Soma, chapter 144. More of a Aizen chapter. Aizen chapter is pretty much you get the same backstory of his during his childhood, and he's as he is today. He seems like a pretty douchey guy. So that's how he is. That's how he has this philosophy in his mind, and this is the reason how his business works out. How he actually he's a clever, sneaky guy in his own right, and he pretty much grew up this way. Never really have never have a bad record of loss, anything. He has a huge win record in Geki, sorry, and you know, there's some funny moments, especially with Soma of like realize about Aizen. And then at the end of the chapter, it's time for Soma to finally show off his really develop skills of his. So it should be interesting to see how this all builds up into that leads to the result. So this whole chapter itself, I actually find it to be really enjoyable. And, you know, it's really good to see the art demonstrating the characteristic of the characters, which, you know, that's the strong point of these art being so good. But yeah, definitely looking forward to how the whole result comes in. Hopefully it plays off well. Number 3, Haikyuu chapter 183. Okay, to be fair, I actually got this wrong with the idea that once you hit 15, no matter what, there is no deuce. Your game over. It's all over. So when I saw that, I almost said it's like, that's pretty anticlimactic. But there's actually the same rules, as in, if you ever get the points, the next points will be the match points. And if you lose at points, then we'll go back to again to deuce. So, you know, I really thought it was the other way around. I thought it was like, no matter what, once you hit 15, game over. But it was still a really good chapter. A lot of hype moment, a lot of momentum, a lot of, you know, like, you just want to see this, how it translates to the anime. Because you know when it's translated to anime, it's going to be really energetic. It's going to be really cringe, because you'd be scared to see if their team will lose or not. And then the very end of the chapter, we've got Skishma coming back to the field, and that's pretty much the disciple of all game. So this should be a really good and heavy breathing moments, since the game is at the end. So it should be something to be looking forward to, at least if you're really into the sports series. Definitely for me, though. Number 2, Gintama chapter 565. Came out late, but it was really well worth it. Definitely worth to read this one. As expected, it's Sakamoto time to shine. It's time for his to have a fight, but this kind of fight is actually different, as we didn't get to see him going against his enemy, who's Guru, which ensued a pretty funny segment in the beginning of the chapters. Especially if you're like a Gundam fan, this is one for you. This one is really this is so. It works so well in here, and it was just hilarious how it goes down. And the guy is such a hack that he could even hack himself into a Gundam. It's hilarious. But there's a lot of interesting aspect that's gonna come down. You know, more insight of where their position stands. The whole Sumi, where they at. It's not like they're like, well, you know, we're not really happy about this either, and stuff like that. And Sakamoto and his troops, you know, his troop is actually became villains because the way how he could hack people as well, which is insane. And by the end of the chapter, Masu and Sakamoto teaming up to take out their own comrades. And, you know, if you remember the whole backstory with the whole Sakamoto and his pirate, it seems really disheartening to that they have to really fight them. And the idea of being hacked can lead to a lot of interesting aspect, especially the idea that Masu is in fact a Yato clan member. So think about that. That would be some crazy stuff. That would be a one way to have a samurai versus a Yato clan going at each other without having resorted with Gintoki. But we'll see how that's going to work out. So definitely a really good chapter, fun chapter as well, especially for the beginning part with the whole Gundam and the whole hacking talk. It was pretty funny. And number 1, Tokyo Ghoul Read Chapter 54. This was outstanding chapter. I waited for a while. I was about to start recording the podcast with me talking about Chapter 53. I did a lot of talking for Chapter 53 in the Tumblr post. And, it was hell of a chapter too. And it was more of me, like, I can't believe, it's more of me, like, pinpointing, like, how much this is effective. And then I actually went to the rant mode in the middle, just because I really want to take it out. It's more of a, why you gotta do this decision. And if you haven't read it, just try to, I'll post a link in the below. So if you really want to read Tokyo Ghoul Chapter 53 review, it has a lot of notes on it, so I'm happy with the feedback. Anyway, with Chapter 54, we'll definitely have to talk about it in the review section, but it was a heavy action and a lot of such a great scene, great moments, impactful panels, just a lot of redemption in my book, mainly with Ude. It's just great stuff. It's a lot of great stuff. I was happy by the end, especially because how much I was getting irritated how overpowered that character was. But seeing at the end, I'm really happy that it all comes down to that. So now I still don't know how this is all going to end in arc-wise, because anything goes. It's just going to be some crazy stuff. So definitely we're going to go talk about that in the review section. So that is my weekly chapter ranking, and yeah, I can't wait to see more of them next week. I don't know what to expect for a lot of these series actually, so it's good to know. It should be fun to see how all these series is going to develop in the next chapter. So we have Fairy Tail Chapter 462, Battlefield, huh? This one doesn't have any battles at all. Instead, is a hype. It's all about building up for what is to come in the upcoming chapters, and already setting up a lot of fight and a lot of teams. And definitely set up something very interesting by the end of the chapter, which I don't know that's going to take place in the next or even a chapter later on. Maybe it could even save for the last part of the arc. Maybe not, but it is strange that it's going to happen right away, if we are going to see this right away. But then again, it does seem like it's going to happen, like next chapter, maybe, I don't know. But definitely a good setup from this chapter itself. It does at least assure me that good thing they're not going to have only Fairy Tail doing all the work, because what is the point of calling it a continent war if it's just Fairy Tail versus the entire Alvarez kingdom? That would not be any much of a war than just Fairy Tail, just John Cena the way out of there. But thankfully, this series is actually thinking the common knowledge that maybe it's best to have everyone else, every other guilds like Blue Pegasus, to be involved with this whole war, Sabretooth and such. Which, it got to be like that case. I know people are going to be a little bit afraid. Oh no, it's going to take a long time. It's going to be Bleach. It's going to be Naruto all over again with the long war arc. Please don't let it be. It's still early to say. I mean, at least what we just have right now, what we just have, at least it wasn't that long. It was short. Or normal length. It was a good enough length to me. It's something that I could tolerate. Even the Urza battle. I thought the Urza battle was decent, I was shocked that it wasn't just a usual situation with Urza. I mean, granted, you got the Urza win. I guess you could insert LOL there. If it already trended already, but at least it actually has some statement proven by Urza for once, like, oh, teamwork, huh? Prove it. And then you have Bisca doing the help, a huge help, in fact. So that's something that I would actually excuse from being such a face palming moment or the usual situation. So it looks promising. I mean, the other fights, they were like a sparring match. There was something to take out the other guys, which actually leads to Laxus in this chapter. So, everything seems to be going fine so far. And with Zara on the way, it's just going to actually intense the entire action scene. So let's get with the chapter. Again, this whole thing is a cooldown. This is the real cooldown chapter. The last one, it was a bit until Wall decided to self-destruct. The robot one, I mean, decided to self-destruct. And Ichiya decided to, hey, you know what? You guys respected me. I respect you back 100 times more. So therefore, I'm going to make it a huge announcement for everybody to gather up because this is our war, not just you, Fairy Tail. So this is the continuation from that. Everybody getting a little cocky because, hey, we won this war. Yay, this is so easy. Yeah, way too cocky there. So Mavis, of course, obviously, common knowledge and know that this is not going to be easy and Fairy Tail cannot do it himself. And then Laxus pretty much is all pissed off that Freed and the other, his own team has been wiped out by them. So now he's really pissed off, which only gives you the idea, he's going to fight Wall. And this chapter doesn't hide from that idea, especially with the later on by the end, like near the end of the chapter, he's like, oh yeah, he's at that south location. I guess I could find him there. So it's not hiding the fact that they're going to fight each other one-on-one. Maybe it's going to be one-on-one. I see it being one-on-one, especially Lex is already powerful as hell. So that's given, and I at least is trying not to be too shy about it. And speaking of shy about it, this Mashima is not shy, showing more fan service now that Brandish is being held hostage in the Fairy Tail Guild prison cell. So, well, not hostage, but you know what I mean. But anyway, because sometimes I'm used to hostage being a good guys being caught by the bad guys. Anyway, so again, Mashima is not shy away from showcasing more fan service, more perverted aspect of this. So not only that, we just have these two old men just talking about maybe we should try to dress her up differently. That would be nice. Yeah, hell, I don't even know the Alvarez Kingdom even dressed this way. This is very kinky. So of course, they're being all perverted, and thankfully, they have, I was gonna say Urza, Lucy, and they have Casca to look out Brandish, and thankfully, it's not like it won't be too long that she's gonna fight back. I don't know if this is still her plan. The way how this chapter, this scene handled, it kind of handled like. I said kind of, but it kind of say that she did plan it by having Marin, because he's still in this small form of himself, so he could actually sneak in, which he ended up finding the guild place, and just gonna say and free Brandish, and Brandish doesn't really care where the position she's at. Because, well, look at her. She's like, you could kill me right now. This is a good time. You should do it. This is your only chance. She's not like fazed by this whole being prison, being lost to the Fairy Tail Guild. No. So, and it's sadly, but, at least we get the idea that this whole connection between Layla and Brandish, is going to be one of the vocal point of this feud between Brandish and Lucy, which Lucy's still trying to figure out what is the connection. You said the mother's name and everything like that. So what is your relation to her? And, of course, Brandish didn't really talk about that. Instead, it's like talking about, you could kill me. You don't want it to just jeopardize this chance by asking what is my connection with your mother. So, that's the whole ordeal, and I guess that's the way to stall time. But of course, it's hard to say if this was planned from her by having Marin just come in and just help her, especially the fact that Brandish is right in the Fairy Tail Guild. So that seems like, that's a good idea. Just get yourself captured, find a guild, and then take over the guild within. Maybe that is the case. Maybe it's not. Who knows? Maybe it's luck. I don't know. But either way, Brandish is going to get free, and then stuff is going to happen. And of course, we're going to see Lucy and Kana, I guess, going against Brandish, because Brandish is pretty broken when it comes to her power. For some reason, this should be a cakewalk for her, but I guess the series trying to balance it out, trying to nerf as much as I can. I don't know, but we'll see what happens. So we get to see Zeref, as expected, to come into the battlefield soon. He's taking the sweet time, I guess, but they're definitely coming out a huge reinforcement, and that's where we establish, okay, so this is our plan. This is what we're going to do from this point forward. We're going to form a team, and this is where they're going to start covering the battles. So the upside is we're going to see a lot of different kind of battles, rather than just seeing the Fairy Tail Guild themselves, because we've seen them a lot. Actually, if you think about it, we see a good enough back in the Tartarus arc. Tartarus arc was all Fairy Tail against Tartarus demons. So that was just it. That was good enough. Now, with this war, it can't just be Fairy Tail once again. Only Fairy Tail once again. I mean, yes, I know Tartarus has Sabretooth, mainly Sting and Rogue, but it should have more variety. It should have more kind of showcase of the battle. As long as it doesn't drag the series down. So, here, we're going to have more variety. And it's going to have more different type of battle. Unless Mashima decided to, hey, I'm just going to do the same old stuff again. So I'm just going to have the same old shtick. I hope that's not the case. I hope there's more different style of fight and different ways of fight. Because I always like these kind of cases. This series doesn't have that much of like that, but it is always fun to have stuff like that and to keep it more interesting. And, sometimes you don't need to resort to he's too overpowered because he shoot a bigger beam or shoot a bigger blast, whatever. It doesn't have to resort to that. Fairy Tail has this magic things, this magic you could either say Deus Ex Machina or just in general, but it has a lot of ways to try to make it bring out the different variety of their fighting catalysts, So I'm hoping that's the case. Am I giving too much hope? Yeah, maybe I am, but we'll see. You never know. Mashima probably went back going to the rave route days, or go even surpass that. Yeah, maybe I am giving too much hope. But anyway, let's just take what we have right here. So Sabretooth and Blue Pegasus are going to intercept the north side of the battlefield. So you already have Sting and Rogue on the front line and the other guys in the back, but at least we're going to have like more of what's to come from the battle, and should be interesting if they do utilize other characters that's just not the usual Sting and Rogue. I mean, Sting and Rogue, they finally had a one-on-one or team against their old master guild in the last arc, or the last major arc, Tartarus arc. But, I guess I wouldn't mind more from them, too. But, then again, they had a time skip. But still, it would be nice to see for other characters as well. And then we have the other forces that's going to take, that's pretty much just going to take care of the other side. That'll be the Mermaid Heel, Lemia Scale. They're going to the Southern forces. They're going to take care of the Port Horgan or something like that. Because they of course reinforcement's going to happen. So at least they kind of strategize everything from about. So at least that's good to see how much they thought about this. Now, what about the offensive side? What about the more of the other guys? They will go north from the Fairy Tail. What about Fairy Tail? Well, they're going to go north with Gajil, Levi, and the family of Marijin, which should be cool. I don't know if they're going to show more of them. I would like to see more of Gajil, especially we didn't see Gajil fight in a long time. So please give me that. But I do like to see more of other ones. Elfman would be fun to see as well. But we'll see what happens. They're going north as well. There's going to be a lot of reinforcement. Now for the south side, We have, from the fairy tale wise, we have Gray, Juvia, Laxus, which again, what a shocker. He's going to the same spot where Wall is at, even though he said it himself. So at least they acknowledge that. At least they try not to hide it. Ooh, this suspense. But unless they could troll me and just have Gray going against Wall and beat him for himself. But you never know. Wendy and even Chao. So yeah, because she could fight. Remember that. Even though she's a cat, she could fight now. But that just leaves one thing. What happened to Natsu? Where is Natsu? He's supposed to be somewhere else. He's supposed to be in reinforcement with the South. So where the hell is he? Oh, we get to that. But if you're not a fan of Urza, got bad news. She's going back. She's going back in battle, even though she's injured. Please don't pull the ass full. Please, just be like the same fight from the before. Please, just don't do this. Don't John Cena this whole mess. So, but at the very least, she's going to meet up with Kagura. So, should be cool if they actually do a tag team. I would like a tag team more so than Urza just doing the usual shtick. Please, don't do that. So, yeah, well, I don't know. We're just hoping for that. So, a lot of formation. It seems promising. It seems like they're going to... A lot of... we got like few fights already set up. We know Urza is going to fight, but at least it'll be a team. At this state, it should be a team. I hope it's a team. It should be cool because, a nice Kagura fight will be nice. Laxus already got his fight with Wall. The other guys, that leaves you to speculation, so we don't know what's going to happen. Now, the interesting part, before we get to the real interesting part, is the East Side. Who's going to take care of the East Side? Well, we actually going to use the more of the most interesting people, at least to me, because I'm very interested to see them, and that's the Four Kings. The one I was mentioning about the last review, the whole she used the Kings of Ishgard, those guys from the Councilmen, and they are, and it's going to be a hell of a battle. I'm assuming God Serena is going to be the one that's going to end up coming to them and going to fight them 4-on-1, hype the crap out of God Serena, because they saying that he could just handle the force himself, so they just have to hype him up, and taking them all out will be a hell of a way to beat them. It's a hell of a hype, though. That will make it hard for everybody to go really. If somebody else like Natsu take them out 1-on-1, and everybody be like, ah. Well, we'll see how this story handles. I hope they handle right. But it should be definitely interesting to see the East Side. When we get to the East Side, I kind of wish we get to see the East Side now, or after the main event, or the big twist that just happened at the very end of the chapter. And that's where, hey, where's Nasu go? You know where he's going? Freaking going against Zerov. Exactly. So, he's going against Zerov because he wants the series to end it. Either he ended by getting killed, or ended because he would just one-shot him. Maybe he believes he's One Punch Man. I don't know. So that's the end of the chapter. A lot of build-up, a lot of formation set up, a lot of expectation, I hope. Some could be a little bit scary with the whole Urza, but I do think they're going to make her team up with Kagura, which I'll be okay with it. They haven't shown what bad guy, what villains is going to approach, besides the South with Wall. And, we don't know how long it's going to take Zerov, even though Zerov's about to meet Natsu in probably the next chapter or so. So this should be interesting to see how this is going to unfold. I hope the war doesn't drag too long. I don't want to be like 2 years later. We're still in this arc. I don't know it's going to be long. It could be longer than Tartarus arc, but that's okay. That's really okay with me. So long it doesn't drag the fight, it doesn't drag too many, it doesn't have a lot of filler fight, kind of ish. I mean, yeah, you could argue the Spring and 12 could be a little bit fillerish because, well, of course, we all know the main deal is going against Zeros himself. I understand that, but, you want to be entertained, and sometimes entertainment is a good way to stall time for the main plot being developed. Is so long you just don't drag it out and don't make it a hell of a boring situation. So, I'm counting on Mashima on this one. Oh, I'm counting on him. after the last chapter, bringing a very sad moment that could be very, very depressing to see Nami crying for Sanji, as well as Choppa crying too, because something really bad happens to Sanji. Wanda even feels so saddened. And the next chapter, 807, could bring out what may happen to Sanji in the past. Is it death? Is he captured? Is he gone for good? Well, this chapter really feels like we skipped the chapter. In fact, once I read the first page, I was wondering myself, did I miss a chapter? Did I miss a page? Did the translation miss a page? Now, the funny thing about this is Manga Panda was the first one to translate this chapter. That it goes to show you that rest did only a little harm. But anyway, they came out first. I waited for Manga Stream. Manga Stream came out. No missing chapter pages. In fact, we got everything. We even got a really nice chapter cover, in fact, at least to me. Thankfully, those kids didn't really scar themselves to make it look like the Zoro's fans. Thankfully. But regardless, I was wondering what just happened. What happened to the whole crying? What happened to the setup? What happened to Sanji? What's going on? I really wanted to know. I guess I missed something. I had to keep reading this chapter itself. It does. I guess you could say it was a part of the joke from Oda. Makes sense. It's just funny how it went. It's just funny how if the flow just literally changed from the last chapter. We just came back seeing Nami crying, Choppa, I'm glad to see them, but at the same time feeling upset because Sanji this, Sanji that, and unfortunately it seems like the Sanji situation will be dragging on for a while. I don't really mind that. It's just kind of funny how this chapter really pointed out that, you know, this whole Sanji thing it seems like whatever. Kind of remind me of the joke that I saw from the Bridge series of Dragon Ball Z with the whole, oh my god, Vegeta no, meh. So it feels like that. In fact, when you read this chapter, the beginning, everybody's doing a feast, as is to say, we have a feast for a while, even though it's only been 10 chapters ago, or maybe even less. But let's have another feast. More feasts to us, because One Piece is all about the feasts. I guess they're trying to make fairy tale feasts very rare these days, so why not more of these? Everybody's just drinking up, eating up, everything else. Nami's looking happy again. Wanda's looking happy again. So what's going on? Did I miss something? Did we skip a chapter? Did somebody tell Oda it was just too depressing for every fan? We just came back from Tokyo Ghoul chapter 53, so we don't want more depression. Can we just change it up, retcon it? Did something happen? Again, that's part of the joke, but it is funny how it began. I was really confused what the hell is happening. And then we see Brook. At least we got to see Brook. Brook is still normally fashioned. It's really good to see these reunions happening. It's good to see everybody's coming back together, the Straw Hat Crews and all. You know, a lot of people has been saying Dressrosa was kind of hard to tolerate because you don't get that many of other Straw Hat Crews that people like, you know, Nami, Sanji, Choppa, and Brook. So I can understand why people are like that, but you know, I guess the idea behind this whole arc is not only just to have a reunion, but just to, you know, get themselves a storyline, mainly for Sanji, since Sanji has been a question mark as of late. I don't know what's the deal with it. I mean, we really got hinted from the whole wanted poster with somebody want him alive only. I guess this really connects to this whole arc, so at least it's not something that would be like, oh, I wonder what that mean. Find out like 4 arcs later. So at least we're trying to connect the dots here. Brook is back. Good to see him again. Pretty much gives the idea that even though it happens by the end of the chapter, which should give you the more curiosity on what's going on with the Mink tribe, but this is the beginning of where they pretty much hinted at something about samurais in the Wano kingdom will get this Mink tribe people very upset, or animals. I'm not sure how you call them, but let's just call them people. Yeah, they would get them upset, and that is why Momo, the little kid, is not really there and really refused to leave the room because, well, of course he connects to the samurais, and so give you the idea like what is going on. There's something about the Ming tribe. There's something that has a connection with this. All this going on. What is the connection? So of course they're gonna explain more later on, but that is the main drive of this arc so far. It seems like the main drive has the connection with the Wano Kingdom, the samurais. Yeah, so at least we're getting from some focus rather than like, oh, we're just here to main tribe, we're just here to see the destruction, and we're just getting our friend back, and that'll be it. So it's gonna get more and more focus, and it seems like this arc won't be too short. It will be, it will be an arc. I don't know how long. I doubt it will be like Dressrosa arc long. So either way, it should be interesting to see how this is gonna go down. Now the funny part is, it's just, I know this chapter kind of feels more and more of a troll, but I did find this part funny as well. You recall Wanda saying, "Oh, we got you. Oh, your friend's corpse is waiting there," stuff like that. In a way, I should have seen this coming, and I don't know why I didn't see this coming. I guess I wasn't that thoughtful. I just was faced with the joke of them saying the corpse is there, and Usopp and everyone else is like, "Oh my God, they're dead," and Robin is like, "Well, it's a good thing the body's still there, so that's good to know." So. Yeah, I should have saw this joke coming. The idea that when they say corpse, they only meant Brook, and they only meant the fact that he is legitimately dead, technically. Sort of. I don't know. Is it really technical? Who knows? But the point is, that's what they meant. That's what they really, really meant. It's not the corpse like, oh, Chopper's dead, Sanji's dead, Nami's dead. So the idea of being dead, get that out of the window for Sanji. He's not dead. I don't know why Nami cried. It was just a troll. I guess you could say a lot of the revelation here is a troll mania. You gotta have you gotta have Nami cry up because they want to add more dramatic effect only for the next chapter to carry that joke, which works, but it's just kind of funny how they had to force her to cry that much. Especially like everything is all swell and good. Oh, where's Law? Oh, he's finding his friend the bear. He's in the forest, so it's all cool. Everything seems cool. Then finally, somebody make a wake up call, and that is Nami herself. Are we gonna do something about Sanji? Thankfully, somebody say something because I felt lost with this chapter. Well, not really lost, but I guess that's the idea of this chapter set up from the beginning of this. Because, of course, again, that's the whole joke. The joke behind it is like wondering what just happened from the last chapter. Weren't we supposed to get any idea what happens to Sanji? Turns out nobody has any idea, Sanji. Zoro kind of in a way had that meh reaction. Luffy is like, daijoubu. Don't worry. He has that look. I could understand they do know him better. They do know him that he is really strong, so he can take care of himself. He did leave a letter too, so it's all cool. But Nami is like, come on, man, at least show something. You guys is like, it's just pretty much like, that is bad. That is bad. Rather than like, oh my God, not good. No terrified, nothing, no real reaction. Just more of a meh. So it's kind of funny. The Chopper, again, it's like still bawling out like, oh, I'm so sorry, we should have done better. So now they finally gonna start questioning about the whole what happened with Nami and everyone else. Well, Brook is being tasted by other characters, the animals, the people of the tribe. One of them's licking, one of them's grabbing that bone. For dogs, it's got to be the most blessing thing they could ever receive. Oh boy! So yeah, they finally get to the flashback with the situation that happened with Nami and the rest, and it was swell to see how they managed to escape from Big Mom pirates, and it's kind of funny because this pirate ship itself. I know it took me a second chapter to understood what just happened, but with the idea there's a ship that could sing. It could sing. I have no idea how that works. It could sing. It has a funny face in the front. It's freaking huge. expected from Big Ma'am, so why not? And we get to see those two guys from the last arc. No, I'm sorry, not the last arc. That's Dressrosa now. The arc with the Merman Island one. And we get to see them again. And Capone is actually there too as well. Because you remember, he's part of them now. And, you know, the idea is try to get Caesar. But Caesar seems like, no, hell no. Don't let me get Catcher or something like that. Yeah, so they were originally getting them and stuff like that. Well, actually, I think, yeah. So that's where they're fighting back. And, you know, they did a good job. It's nice to see him fighting back. Still doesn't really explain what happens to Sanji. He just left. I guess that's the idea. He just left. I mean, they did a good job, but back when I was talking about the second time of reading this, it's that ship. I noticed the ship had a different reaction face. So, unless the face of the ship is supposed to have different reaction as in a normal thing, or is one of those, you know, how like parodies or very comedy-ish series usually done. You know, like say like you see a painting of a wall, it's static. It's because it's a paint. But then something funny happened, something goofy happened, the painting just changed because something odd happened. So it kind of seemed like that with the ship. It's like, oh, I got shot. It's like, ship. So, but yeah, at least, but it's, again, it was nice to see some teamwork in this chapter. And even though it's a flashback, it was nice to see it. And instead of talking about Sanji, everybody's just like, oh, that was a cool job. That was excellent from you two guys. You did well, Chopa. Yeah, you were awesome. Know what I mean? So it's kind of like, did we just dismiss about Sanji again? It's like, are you trying to make Sanji into a Yamcha of this series? Not really, but you know, it's just kind of funny how these reactions are just funny because it's not supposed to go reacting the way it's supposed to. So they keep going back to, you know, something different that's not Sanji related. But at least Robin is like wondering, like, you know, when did this happen? It's like, oh, it happened like 10 days ago. And it's like, that's strange because that means the city of where they're in right now, it happened like 2 weeks at least. So timing, but I don't know if this will extend to anything, but it seemed like it might do. And you know, they all have to suffer, and they couldn't have done anything. So it gives you the idea they've been wiped out pretty bad when the raid happened from the. I'm assuming, they say it can't happen from Jack, right? So, yeah, that seems to be the case. And then we get more of more exploration of this tribe. That is, we find out about there's two kings. They actually have two kings in the country, and because it started with that the guy, one of the animal come out and tell them the Duke is finally woken up from slumber. I'm guessing. I guess he got really beat down because Wanda's been tearing up. So they're gonna come to meet the King Duke, but the other king is the King of Night. I believe his name is Nekomamushi. Don't know. Maybe that king might be the one that we saw from the Shadowy Finger 2 chapters ago, if I recall correctly. There was a Shadowy Figure that we didn't get to see introduced. Maybe that was the King of Night. I could be wrong. Maybe that could be King of Day, Duke. But we'll see what happens. Speaking of you know, this whole forest thing and animal reuniting. Speaking of all that, Law does reunite from his own pirate crew, the bear, the polar bear himself. So you find the news about him defeating the Don Flamingo, even though he giving more credit to the Straw Hat crews because, you know, they did the work, mainly Luffy, but still, it's nice to see that they finally coming back together. So everybody's getting reunited. Just Sanji's missing again, left on his own term. Don't know what really happened. It's not death, at least. I mean, come on, let's be real. So now, as they're walking through the right belly fort of the zoo, you know, because remember they're still on that big elephant. They finally get into the backstory of what happened back then, what caused the destruction, and Wanda, of course, pretty much starts setting up, going back to the time when the rave begins. And that's where we see a big giant mammoth on the top of the elephant. Yeah, that's right. You read that right. You heard that right. Sounds funny. Big mammoth just come in there, barge in, and demands to bring out the warrior of Wano Kingdom. Sorry, Rizzo. that's the same guy that does the two samurais, which, by the way, they haven't reached up there because I guess the running joke, might be the running joke, is that they're going to keep trying to get all the way to the top of the Zou, but they will keep failing. So they say, let's do another day. Sure, let's not. Why not? So I'm not sure that's going to last long or that's going to just be the one time only, but we'll see what happens. So, yes, they connected to this whole thing. So, the samurai and the Wano Kingdom whole thing is going to be connected to this whole Raizo guy. Supposed to be a ninja, if I recall, right? If I remember right. So, yeah, that's the end of the chapter. We're getting the flashback. Don't know if that will please the audience if they don't care about this whole backstory. But, remember, it's supposed to have Jack in there, right? So, it's supposed to be connected to the main plot, the main story part. So, it should be connecting... It should be influenced, this whole Straw Hat crew being there as of now. So, I still don't know how long this arc will be. I don't know who's going to be the villain of this arc. I don't know pretty much anything else besides the fact that we have Sanji being missing out. I still hope he does show up around this time. I get the bad feeling they're going to make Sanji come back next arc rather than in this arc. Unless this arc is really crucial with Sanji. So, I can only hope for that, but... It seems like they like to split up Straw Hat Crew this whole past time skip, doesn't it? Huh? Well, it all started with Show Body arc, but still, what's going on with this whole split up gang? Oh well, I don't mind this too much. It's only Sanji. I'm not saying I don't like Sanji. I'm just saying it's only one character. We have other characters. We have Nami back, Choppa back, Brook back. So it's all swell and done. Now we're just having a flashback. I hope I'm interested to see how this goes because we're exploring the tribe itself, which we're getting more understanding. We're gonna start getting more of a connection, probably to the main story. So we'll see what happens. The enjoyable chapter started off funny because the whole what happened to Sanji? Who cares? Feast kind of story way, but that's the whole joke. That's the whole premise of it. But it seems interesting to see what happened in the past 17 days ago, 2 weeks ago, what exactly happened. So we'll see what's gonna take place. Hopefully it'll be interesting, and hopefully we get the understanding what's the next objective of this series. I don't know if it's truly Saturday or Sunday that's considered a normal release schedule for Tokyo Ghoul, but I'm hoping it's actually on a Saturday because I heard the Raw chapters was actually released on a Saturday, and I have no idea of what happened at that time. In fact, I really prevented myself from seeing any spoilers for anything about it. I actually managed to not look at it, not one bit. Even one good friend trying to tell me like, "Hey, the Raw is out of there. You could check it out. It's awesome." And I was like, "That's great, but I can't. I gotta wait for the translation version." And he or she understood me, so that was nice of that person. And then I'm like, I was like fighting because it's like, wow, it's 12 a.m. and midnight. Where's the chapter? So Sunday, right before I was about to start recording, the chapter was released, and I was so happy to read it. I was so happy to read it twice actually, because the manga stream actually changed the translation, and it made it more understandable, and I understand, and it was definitely it definitely helped me, at least. I mean, the one part I was a little confused on what it's trying to say, and then when it corrected, it made more understandable for me. So Tokyo Ghoul chapter 54. This came off from the chapter that was heavily hyped with Kanaki coming back in his full form, normal form. Well, I'm not talking about Centipede, but I'm talking about the idea that he is back. This is not like we're switching brains, we're battling each other inside our heads, saying like, I should do this, I should do that. This one was full-fledged Kanaki, and this chapter was crazy. It was just awesome. It was an outstanding chapter, I had to say. It was pretty damn good. A lot of illustrations really descriptive of the characters, descriptive of the emotion display. It really, again, Ishida is known to do this emotional displayment of agony, pain, suffering, depression, everything, despair. Ishida really is good at this, really demonstrate really well. It has been going on for the past, for a while actually. Man, I really like this chapter so much, especially coming off from the beginning with a hell of an action that Kanaki just have enough and just beat the hell out of Kanai. And, and I love the fact that when it first started off, you chop his arm off. He chopped the Kanai's arm off. Pretty much give the idea an eye for an eye. So, yeah, he got it back right there. And, you see Ito being so, happy to see this. Oh, what do we have here? Because, obviously, this is pretty much her plan, I believe. That to have Kanaki coming back and be in his more ruthless form. And, I gotta say, I do like seeing... I actually, compete myself. Which seems more ruthless looking? Which seems more dangerous looking in our review? Is it Kanaki with white hair or black hair? I seem to think the black hair version seems very scarier. At least the way how they illustrated in this chapter. The way it illustrated to me, I feel like this really suits him more as in a conniving way. And I know the white hair part didn't really disappear. The idea is that he was blood dripping. The blood was going all over his head. So pretty much it's mix of his dark and the blood of on his hair. It's mix of dark hair and blood, making it seem like it's all black hair, which really works well. And I guess that would be the hard time. That would be something that would be anime's job to make it seem very scary with that kind of mindset. But it can work well in the anime vision as well. It just has to be more cleverly done. This one was it got the intimidation look, especially when he tells Ito to shut the hell up. Or either that or Kanai. Either one, the way how he had that panel of saying shut the hell up, you could tell this guy isn't messing around anymore. This guy is ruthless. This guy is arguably worse than the time back in Tokyo Ghoul original series when he finally snapped and became full-fledged Ghoul and just beat the hell out of, it's just crazy. The act of violence in this chapter as well, the stabbing in the eye just looks so painful. Kanai is a Ghoul. We know that. It just seems still like one hell of a pain trip to get stabbed by. Out of all things to get stabbed is a freaking pipe. It's brutal. The art of it is just looks so brutality. It reminds me of the days where I see Arima stab Kanaki. That really stinged the hell out of me. And I like the whole, right after that, it's like internal pain, a lot of just screaming. And this chapter is the same thing. Once Kanai got stabbed, he just screamed the hell out of it because it's painful as shit. It's freaking painful. And he's blindly trying to attack Kanaki, but Kanaki's just too fast. And obviously, this is like the days in the past series. Excuse me. And just seeing him just dodging everything and then coming right behind him. And it's pretty ironic when you think about it, because it's like Kanai kind of got her eye stapled by, well, you know what I mean when I say that. Got nailed, let's say it like that. Got nailed, sealed tight, and it seems like you can't be seeing well. And then Kanaki pretty much did more damage to it. So it's like, oh look, I'm gonna put more blindness to ya. So yeah, that's pretty. But again, Kanaki would do at all costs to beat the hell out of you, if not just kill you straight up. Now, is Kanai dead? I don't think so. Kanai is just out of the battle. That's all you need to know. For now, you need to know that Kanai is out of the battle. And, because she had a lot of character development, or rather the character's display, a lot of backstory, everything about her. We have a lot of that. killing her off without really meaningful ending or ending herself will be a bad way to do that. Would be anticlimactic, let's say. Yes, she got destroyed by Kanaki. Pretty expected, but geez, not the way how it handles. But point is, I don't think she's dead. I think she's just out of the battle. She is done. She is out of the battle. What's her fate in the end? Don't know. Just wait, because right now we are dealing with Kanaki and the Ito's feud. So it should be definitely interesting. But before that, we had to make sure one thing, and that is Tsukuyama Shu. He's still around. He sees Kanaki in the most devilish form, I guess you could say. And it's good to know that they actually brought back this whole conversation. I believe it was chapter 69 from the last series. I don't remember. It's been a long time, but it might be chapter 69. It could be more later than that. I hope I got the right chapter number. I should have checked it before I made this review, to be honest. But I do remember the scene with the Nico, where he tells Kanaki about the one-eyed king, and it actually finally reflects, and it actually finally connects to the one-eyed ghoul, the one that we see today, Ito. And it really connects to the fact that it could be a little girl covered in bandage. So the only question left is, does Kanaki knows that's his favorite author? That's Sen. Does he knows that? Does he care about that? We don't know about that. But right now, all we know is he's going to make him shut up. He's going to make him kill. He's going to kill that, But first, take us to Shu, which seems like it almost felt like he betrayed Shu. But it's understandable why he did it, even though he did it cold way. But again, this is something that, remember Kanaki. Kanaki already come back from saying, don't kill Shu, don't kill Shu, don't kill Shu. So this one is more like, I gotta knock you out, even though it looks pretty messed up of me, but I gotta do what I gotta do. So, especially when he says, it's okay. So pretty much he knocks him out in a more brutal way, but again, it has to be done. Especially Kanaki is the kind of guy that's, still in a selfish way, don't want anybody to lose for his own being. So now we have Ito confronting with Kanaki, and it seems like they're going to fight each other. I think they are. They might skirmish a little. I hope they get a battle. I know a lot of people might be thinking Kanaki has no chance of winning. He doesn't, but I wouldn't. But it wouldn't be a one-sided battle. I probably could see. I'm more likely to see Kanaki doing good job, but still no cigar. I could see that, and then I could see him probably go even more further down the ways by hopefully we're gonna see the centipede mode, because his Kaga job is pretty damn powerful as well. But we don't know. But we don't even know if he can even handle that, since the Ito can handle that perfectly. Like, no mind messing up her head, because she's already crazy. She's a whack job already. So with Kanaki, he's still this kind of character, and he's still young into that thing. But maybe he could get used to it. Maybe he's adapted to it. But it's hard to say. Either way, I don't know if they're really gonna fight each other. But if they are, it's going to be some brutal stuff. Now, with that cliffhanger in mind, we're finally getting to finish off with Noro going against the entire Q Squad. And thankfully, we get to see more of that. And I really, at one point, certain times in the series, not this series, but certain times in like a lot of different series, I usually be like, I don't want to go different focus on the other characters. I want to go back to the main, the real meat and potatoes of the series, of this moments, stuff like that. But in this one, I really was intrigued to see about the whole Noro and the Q Squad situation. And seeing this chapter, it still managed to make this an outstanding. It was already great enough with Kanaki just being such a badass and just tore down Kanai, and then knock out Shu, and then confront Ito one-on-one. Finally, one-on-one. I still don't know if he knows that's the favorite author of his, but right now it's more of a personal grudge and trying to kill her off once and good. So here we have Noro. One would think like, damn it, we gotta go back to this. Well, even though a lot of people are interested to see, well, how this situation come down, I mean, definitely me. This one, it still made it such an outstanding chapter. Seeing Shirazu going such a huge development phase of like trying to take him down, even if in the end it's really not really about him trying to take him down by himself. Rather, he's taken down with another person, with somebody who's still in commission to help him out to finish the job once and for all. So Shirazu, you thinking of names almost give you the idea that Shirazu was going to bite the dust, and I was actually getting more and more afraid as the chapter kept going, as the panels, as more panels I keep reading, and he trying not to. You know what I mean? It's not like he's trying to die, but it kind of trying to give you the idea he has a death flag waving right now, and then he's trying to release. He was releasing his Kakuhao, I believe that's his. Yeah, he's trying to open up into a more potential, even though that could be dangerous. But he needs that more power because obviously Nora is just too broken, and he's looking from the Q Squad. Psycho, still weird out because her Kagune is pretty powerful, but it does tire her out. So she's there, just witnessing Shirazu about to go to a insane suicide attempt to win the battle against Noru. Masuki is, of course I wouldn't say dead, but boy did he really got beaten bad. Like, wow. And then Ure actually is the one that's actually pretty standing up. Or, pretty much the only one that around that could actually fight a little bit longer. And, I'm thinking he got knocked down, but he's actually witnessing Shirazu going to his final attempt to defeat Noru. And he released his Kagune in a more strong, in a very high tier fashion. And it's just like they just, collided each other. And it wasn't kill, but you get the idea that Shirazu didn't really gone for the kill, even though he would have gone for the kill, but he pretty much get the idea that this is not going to kill him. What could kill him is one extra help. And Shirazu scream out to Ure, because he see Ure being the one guy to stand out and telling him, that's enough, isn't it, for you? So, just seeing those two panels side by up and down, seeing this panel of those two looking at each other, Shirazu telling him, "This is enough bullets for ya." It turns pretty much giving him the one opportunity to kill Noro for good. And then I see that panel of him getting stabbed through, which scared the hell out of me because it really gives me a real bad feeling that he really dies from this. I don't think he died, but please tell me he doesn't die. It will suck because the series is really killing too many characters as it is, and some of them deserve this, some of them really don't in my book. And you can see that in the chapter 53 thoughts of mine. But seeing this whole panel, it's just these two panels, it goes to show you like Shirazu really cared for his friend, really trust his friend, trust them that they could finish it off as he could not, but he gave them enough for them to finish it off for good. And Ure is just looking like, what the, it's like, he has the expression of shock, of something like he could not believe Shirazu would give him this opportunity. And like he not only that, but given the shock of Shirazu taking a hell of a beating, and then the stab, which pretty much phased him. It was pretty much, this is a really good development for these two, especially for Ure. Ure, as I mentioned before, he has been going through a lot of changes throughout this whole arc. The last arc, he was such a douchey. Just the fact he's only doing it for himself. He was caring about himself. There was no teamwork, no anything. So this all comes back with teamwork. Now, remember, Shirazu had that leader he's supposed to be placed. He was positioned as the leader. Shirazu's positioned as the leader. Ude has a problem with Shirazu as well. But the fact that Shirazu will give him this opportunity to Ude, it goes to show you, even if they have grudges, even if they really, if they really don't like each other or whatever, he does. He at least care. He cared this much, and Ude, he's already getting more respect to the people. He was already starting carrying more of his own team. He acknowledged that he does in fact has a family. So seeing Shirazu getting stabbed, he don't want him to die. The fact that he keeps screaming in his head about "don't die, don't die, don't die," it really goes to show you that he really has evolved from the character from the last arc. The last arc, he was been a douchey kind of way, and then between this arc and the last arc, he was evolving, he was changing up, he was not being too much of a solo man. I mean, yeah, he's thinking about promotion, but in this case, he actually cares. Instead of like last arc, he's just gonna go full front and try to get all the credit for himself. But instead, in this one, he was like caring about Shirazu and try and avenge him for this sake. Avenge him with his one final strike from Mikagane. And then Noru actually talks. So Noru finally talks, and his final words is, if you read the first translation, it was actually saying, "Looks like I die here, Ito." And then the updated version is, "I'll see you on the other side, Ito." And slash it goes, and the chapter ended right there. So pretty much give you the idea, Noru is dead. Yes, finally. Damn it, God, why the hell is he so damn overpowered, broken as hell? But he's finally dead. At least I hope this chapter is a troll. But it really does seem like he is dead. Especially his final words was, "I'll see you on the other side." So to Ito, no less. Now, are we gonna get any backstory with him? I hope so. Maybe, because he was so overpowered. And it doesn't really explain why he's so overpowered. Especially for Kanai. Why Kanai became so powerful. Even though it was still young and couldn't defeat Kanaki. But it was still powerful. Like, compared to the original form of Kanai. So, what gives with that? We'll probably get more backstory on that soon. But Noru is taken out. And it's about damn time that one of the big top tier of Ogiri taken out in this series is very satisfying to me. It's so satisfying because these villains have too much good for too long, and when it comes to the heroes finally getting the comeuppance, it's just it's satisfying. It's very satisfying to see the hero doing the good, the winning, and because this series there's not that much of a black or white situation. It's all a lot of gray area, but in this case, this has to be one of the more of the black and white situation, and the fact that we finally see one of the top tier taken out rather than it's something that I would like to see. The period, the clown, those damn clowns, when one of them gets taken out, it would be very satisfying in my end, but definitely satisfying to see Nora taken out once and for all, and the fact that Q Squad are alive. So thank God they didn't get killed off, or at least that's what I'm hoping for Shirazu. Shirazu is still undetermined. I hope they don't kill him off. The best thing you could do, even though in this series it's always cruel, the best thing you could do is to send him a hospital with his sister for a good arc, or maybe a half an arc. Just don't kill him off, please. So definitely an outstanding chapter, well worth to wait. Next chapter, now that the Noru situation is over, we probably get a little aftermath of that final part of the battle, and then we're gonna fully fledged focus on Kanaki and Ito. I don't know if they're gonna fight each other. They might fight, if not skirmish, and I'm still waiting for I still don't even know how this end is gonna, how the whole thing is gonna end. Like, even if Sasaki even gonna come back, his normal good days, his dream days, as they want to call it in that last chapter. This Kanaki is all about ending with a bang, getting his payback and everything. The cruel side, the ruthless side. So we don't know how this is gonna end. We don't know. It's so hard to guess. I'm assuming this whole thing will end before the whole Christmas break. I'm assuming that. But definitely an outstanding chapter. Read it twice, 3 times just now. So yeah, I was reading it again. It's not, I don't really do that, but I just did it just now because I just had to see the illustration. Like I said, the illustration in this chapter was damn good. So many emotional displays, so many, just a crazy slashing epic event with so many blood. I don't even know how anime can even try to trash like this. And you know, even if they get a different adaptation, this will be hard to try to translate. But not too hard. But you know, if you're not picking the right period of time, it's like, oh well, you can't show this more gore. But you're trying to give us a Blu-ray DVD release. Anyway, definitely a hell of a chapter. Just read it again if you have to. Time for Q&A. I actually only got one, and it's from the Anonymous. And this one is actually just more of a fun thing to ask, but what will you do if anime does not exist? Well, what would happen to me exactly? Not much happened. So, not much would change. You know, I still have manga to read, but if you want to go with, what if there's no manga? Well, then you're just missing out 2 of my hobbies, and that'll be it. That would be really it for me. And you know, I guess you could say my focus will be will go more heavily towards something else, because you know, with me, I have so many things that I like to do, and so many things I actually really like to talk about. You know, they does limit my time of scheduling, I guess you could say. So without anime or manga even, I would actually have a lot of more free time and probably give it more priority to one of each aspect. So it would be like, hey, I got like an extra hour in me for this series or for this hobby. I mean, you know, like a live TV series, or, you know, watching something else, or just do something else like play video games or do something computing. Since, you know, my whole criteria of mine is about computer. So I guess I could do a lot of more things just without the anime and the manga. I mean, I wouldn't say the life will be ended for me. It would just be like, well, I guess I had to just move on to something else. I mean, it will kind of suck because I do like the art and, you know, the art and the way how their styles are different from the cartoon animation of America. Not to say the cartoon is bad. It's not. It's just it has their own perks. Both of them have their own perks. And, you know, when they come to the United States, they like to stereotype the Japanese animation being, you know, like, overly polite, stuff like that. As to say there's no such thing as seinen or joshi. You know, it's like they made it seem like there is no such thing as cruelty in Japanese animation, which is not true at all. But the stereotype is there, so what can you do? Point being that, you know, I do like they had a lot of stuff has their own different perks of theirs. So seeing the anime and manga perks being disappear from my, I guess, a list of hobbies, it would be a little bit disheartening, but you know, the world won't end for me. It would just be moving on to something else and just have a different priority on different hobbies of mine. So that's about it. I really got not much to say to that. It's pretty much straightforward. So yeah, so that's it for Q&A. I do have to, you know, mention to everybody that it's going to be available. It is available, actually. I just don't really talk about or just let them know that it's actually available. But I really got to start collecting these mailbox of questions to me. So, I mean, I'm kind of shy away from that. So that's just my fault on my end. But I'll definitely let you guys know next time. And that would do it for today's episode. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Oh boy, I know a lot of people are a little bit like wondering what's going to happen to the manga, the scanlations. This is going to be is it over for all of us? Don't worry, it's just a phase of a moment that, you know, where things has to be delayed, things have to play safe. Don't worry about it. I too was a little worried, and I did have an eerie feeling about it. I discussed this the last week episodes. I discussed it in the Q&A, and you know, it was a first impression thought. I'll admit that, but you know, it's not gonna be a long-term deal. It's not going to last that long. I mean, can it really be a domino effects? Maybe, I don't know. I mean, there are some fan sub that are closing down their business in terms of translating, but some of them are just personal reasons. Some of them are just like not want to do this anymore, which is understandable. It's totally understandable. But there's a lot of fish to catch in the pond, so yeah, don't worry about it. Everything is just gonna be in a little phase of playing safe or whatever the case may be. So don't worry about it, okay? Yeah, that's it for today's episode. And hope you guys subscribe this channel. If you haven't already, support. Please spread the words about this channel. And I'll see you next time for more Sparda's World podcast. Take care, everyone.